Most people think the biggest cyber attack in history was carried out by hackers, Russian intelligence, Chinese state actors, some shadowy group. It wasn't. The largest IT outage in history was caused by a cybersecurity company, the company you pay to protect your computers. They crashed 8.5 million of them in 78 minutes. Not with a virus, not with malware, with a config file, 40 kilobytes, smaller than this video's thumbnail. And the CEO, he'd done this before. CrowdStrike was founded in 2012 by a man named George Kurtz. His background? Accounting. He started as a CPA. Then he discovered hacking. He co-wrote one of the most famous cybersecurity books ever published, founded a security firm called Foundstone, sold it to McAfee, became McAfee's CTO. Then he left to build something better. CrowdStrike. We stop breaches. That was the tagline. By 2024, CrowdStrike protected 298 of the Fortune 500 airlines, banks, hospitals, government agencies. The most critical systems on Earth trusted this company with their safety. Oh, and George Kurtz. He also races cars, won his class at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2019. Net worth $3.2 billion. But here's what nobody expected. There's a detail from 2010 that changes everything. We'll get to it. CrowdStrike's product is called Falcon. It runs at the kernel level. That's the deepest layer of your operating system. Same level as Windows itself. Why? Because to catch malware, you need to see everything. Every process, every file access, every network connection. You need to be inside the walls, but here's the trade-off nobody talks about. If something crashes at kernel level, it doesn't show an error message. It doesn't ask you to restart. The entire operating system dies. Blue screen of death. Instantly. Now, CrowdStrike pushes updates to Falcon multiple times a day. Not full software updates. Small config files called channel files. Think of them like threat intelligence. New attack detected, push a channel file. All 8.5 million machines get it, automatically, no human approval. This worked perfectly, for years, until July 19th, 2024, 4:09 a.m. Universal Coordinated Time, July 19th. CrowdStrike pushes channel file 291, a routine update. It tells Falcon how to detect a specific type of attack, named pipe abuse. The file has 21 input fields. The software reading it expects 21 extra field. No bounds check, no validation. The software tries to read field 21. The memory address doesn't exist. Kernel panic. Blue screen. Reboot. Falcon loads again. Reads the same file. Crashes again. Infinite loop. It's 2 p.m. in Sydney, afternoon in Australia, and suddenly every screen at every major airport goes blue. Qantas, Virgin Australia, Jetstar, grounded. An hour later, Asia follows. Hong Kong, Singapore. Indigo cancels 192 flights. Banks across the continent go dark. Then Europe wakes up. London, Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Paris, 1 week before the Olympics. Departure boards go blank. At 5:27 UTC, 1 hour and 18 minutes after the push, CrowdStrike reverts the update. But it doesn't matter. 8.5 million machines already have the file, and every single one is stuck in a boot loop. If this story surprises you, subscribe. It gets so much worse. The wave rolls west with the sun. America wakes up to chaos. Delta, United, American Airlines. All request an FAA ground stop. 5,078 flights canceled worldwide. People sleeping on airport floors. But flights are the headline. The real terror is quieter. Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York, one of the best cancer hospitals in the world, postpones every procedure requiring anesthesia. Mass General in Boston cancels all non-emergency surgeries. Kaiser San Jose loses patient records, loses vital sign monitoring. For newborns, 15 states lose 911 service. Alaska switches. The fix is 4 steps. Boot into safe mode. Navigate to a folder. Delete one file. Reboot. Simple. Now do it 8.5 million times. In an era of cloud computing, of remote management, of automation, the solution required physically touching each machine, one, by hand. But wait, it gets worse. Most enterprise machines use BitLocker encryption. To boot into safe mode, you need a 48-digit recovery key. Where do companies store those keys? Active Directory, Azure AD, cloud servers, which are also crashed. You need the key to fix the machine. The system that stores the key is also broken. A perfect catch-22. One admin posted online, quote, "They sent us a patch, but it required we boot into safe mode. We can't boot into safe mode because our BitLocker keys are stored inside of a service we can't log into because our AD is down." Another admin was managing 250,000 affected machines worldwide. Another reported talking warehouse operators through BitLocker recovery keys over the phone. Quote, "Not for the faint-hearted. ITED admins slept in their offices for days." 9 hours after the crash, George Kurtz posts on X, quote, "Today was not a security or cyber incident. Our customers remain fully protected. Notice what's missing? The word sorry. He didn't say sorry. Not until the TV cameras showed up, but the real moment came 5 days later." CrowdStrike sent apology emails to their partners. Inside, a $10 Uber Eats gift card. "We recognize the additional work that the July 19th incident has caused. $10 for $5.4 billion in damages." And here's the punchline. The gift cards didn't work. Uber's fraud detection system flagged the mass redemption as suspicious, canceled the vouchers. The apology for the broken software was also broken. 3 weeks later, CrowdStrike won the Most Epic Fail award at DEF CON, the world's biggest hacking conference. Their president flew to Vegas to accept it. He said, "It's super important to own it when you do things horribly wrong." He brought the trophy home, put it in CrowdStrike's headquarters, a constant reminder. Remember the detail from 2010. In 2010, George Kurtz was CTO of McAfee. McAfee released a faulty antivirus update. It flagged a critical Windows file. "Such does ich see as a virus." Millions of computers crashed. Reboot loops. Sound familiar? That disaster was so bad it contributed to Intel buying McAfee. Kurtz left, founded CrowdStrike. To do it better, 14 years later, the same man, the same failure. A security update crashing millions of Windows machines into boot loops, but 10 times bigger. History didn't rhyme. It repeated, word for word. CrowdStrike's stock fell from $343 to $218. $30 billion in market cap. Gone. Delta sued for $500 million. CrowdStrike countersued. The case is still in court. Congress demanded the CEO testify. He sent someone else. And the final irony. Southwest Airlines, the airline mocked for years for running on ancient technology, was completely unaffected. They don't use CrowdStrike. Every other major U.S. carrier was grounded. Southwest flew normally. Russia was fine too. U.S. sanctions meant they barely used CrowdStrike. The countries America tried to digitally isolate were the ones protected from America's own tech failure. Think about that for a second. The root cause: one config file with 21 fields instead of 20. No bounds check. No integration test between the validator and the interpreter. The most basic software engineering failure you can imagine. No hacker could have done this. No nation state, no ransomware gang has ever taken down 8.5 million machines simultaneously. CrowdStrike did it to themselves. Trust takes years to build and seconds to break. And sometimes, the biggest threat isn't outside the walls. It's the update you push at 4 a.m. Next week, the story of a developer who spent 2 years